A girl enters a hospital with a baby in her arms and makes a desperate confession. Everyone is devastated to hear her last words. In the early hours of the morning, when silence dominated the hospital, the automatic doors suddenly opened. A girl, small and fragile, crossed the reception area. She wore simple clothes and had messy brown hair, but it was what she carried in her arms that captured all the attention. Wrapped in a blanket, a small bundle rested firmly against her chest. Her eyes, a mix of fear and courage, looked at the staff as if pleading for help, but also held a dark secret. Nurse Isabella, with years of experience, nearly dropped her clipboard upon seeing the unusual scene. She approached cautiously, trying to decipher what was happening. She crouched down to the girl's level and, in a gentle tone, asked, "Dear, are you okay? Who is in your arms?" The girl looked at Isabella, not saying a word, clutching the bundle against her chest with a slight tremor in her hands. Finally, with a whisper that was almost inaudible, she murmured, "They told me to come here. He needs help." Isabella took a deep breath, realizing that there was something more to this situation than just an unexpected visit. Looking into the girl's eyes, she noticed an unusual maturity and sadness for her age, something that seemed to stem from a difficult and painful journey. She extended her hand with a warm smile and asked, "What is your name?" The girl hesitated, as if searching for trust in Isabella's words. In a faint voice, she replied, "Amara." "Very well, Amara," said Isabella, trying to maintain calmness and a gentle tone. "Can we see what you have in your arms?" With a hesitant motion, Amara loosened the blanket slightly, revealing the face of a newborn, sleeping soundly. Isabella couldn't contain her surprise, and her heart raced at the thought of what that 11-year-old girl had been through to get there. "My God, it's a baby?" Isabella whispered, gesturing to Dr. Matteo, who was already approaching. Upon noticing the tension in the nurse's gaze, Dr. Matteo, experienced and attentive, knelt beside Isabella, quickly assessing the situation. With a reassuring look, he said, "Amara, it's okay. We are here to help you both. But tell me, where did you come from with this baby?" Amara bit her lip, her eyes welling up, but she maintained a determined posture. Without breaking her gaze, she answered in a low voice, I can't tell. I just know he depends on me." Isabella and Dr. Matteo exchanged a glance, understanding the seriousness of what they had on their hands. Isabella kept her gaze fixed on the girl, feeling the weight of Amara's words. With an expression of empathy and gentleness, she decided not to press too hard immediately, but to ensure that she and the baby were safe. "Amara, can I hold the baby so you can rest a bit?" the nurse asked, extending her hands in a welcoming manner. Amara hesitated, holding the baby even tighter, as if he were her last anchor in the world. Her eyes were scared but determined. Without taking her eyes off Isabella, she finally murmured, "You're not going to take him away from me, are you? He's all I have." Dr. Matteo, noticing the anguish in the girl's voice, knelt beside her, softening his tone. "Amara, we don't want to take anything from you. We just want to take care of both of you to make sure you're okay. You are very brave for coming here." He looked at Isabella, who nodded, and they exchanged a gesture of understanding. It was clear that the situation required care and sensitivity. With slow steps, Isabella guided Amara to a nearby cushioned chair. The hospital was still calm at that hour, the silence wrapping around them like a protective cloak. Isabella sat beside the girl and asked softly, "Did you come here by yourself, dear?" Amara nodded, her expression mixing exhaustion and relief. "There was no one to bring me. I did it all by myself. I needed to protect Noah." "Noah," Isabella repeated, absorbing the name of the baby. "He's beautiful, Amara. How did he end up in your arms? The girl looked down, clutching Noah once more against her chest, as if those words brought back memories she preferred not to relive. She shrank a little, shielding the baby with her body. He was alone just like me, and I promised he wouldn't be without anyone. Dr. Matteo and Isabella felt a tightening in their chests upon hearing that. It was as if, in a few words, Amara revealed a life marked by pain and abandonment. We will take care of both of you, Amara, and I promise, nothing will happen to Noah. Dr. Matteo affirmed with a firm look. But we need to make sure you're okay too, all right? The girl nodded slowly, seeming less tense. The weight of being there seemed to lessen as the adults gained her trust. As Isabella adjusted the baby in her arms, Dr. Matteo discreetly called the young nurse, Sarah, asking her to prepare a private room for Amara and Noah. Carefully, Isabella wrapped Noah in an extra blanket, ensuring the baby was comfortable in Amara's arms. Meanwhile, Nurse Sarah returned to inform them that the room was ready. Come, Amara. Let's go to a quieter place. There you can rest, and we will take care of you and Noah, Isabella said with a warm smile. Amara slowly stood up, still holding the baby securely in her arms, and followed Isabella and Dr. Matteo down the hallway. Their footsteps echoed softly in the almost empty hospital corridors, and Amara, with her gaze fixed on the baby, whispered comforting words to him, as if also seeking courage for herself. Upon arriving in the room, Isabella helped the girl sit on the bed, while Dr. Matteo adjusted Noah in a nearby crib. Amara watched every movement, as if fearing someone might separate her from the baby at any moment. Dr. Matteo sat beside her and said, Amara, we're going to take care of everything now. You're safe here, but we need to understand more about you and what happened for you both to be here this morning. Can you tell me a little more about where you live? Amara took a deep breath, looking down at the floor, as if gathering strength to open that door of memories. After a long silence, she replied in a trembling voice, My mama. She doesn't know I came. She doesn't care. She just says I'm a burden. She hesitated, seeming to struggle against her own words. My stepdad. He's always been hard on me. Isabella exchanged a solemn look with Dr. Matteo. The seriousness of what Amara was implying was evident, but they didn't want to pressure her too much. I'm so sorry to hear that, Amara, Isabella said gently. But now you and Noah are safe here, and no one will hurt you. Amara continued to stare at the floor, but a glimmer of relief crossed her eyes. She lifted her face to Isabella and whispered, You promise? Dr. Matteo leaned slightly, placing a hand on Amara's shoulder. We promise, Amara. As long as you're with us, we will do everything to ensure that you both are protected. The girl finally relaxed a little, allowing herself to feel a flicker of safety. She reached out to gently touch Noah's head as he slept peacefully. Isabella smiled at her, feeling that they had taken a first step toward the trust and hope that Amara so desperately needed. Nurse Sarah returned to the room with a tray of tea and some cookies, setting them beside Amara. I know you must be exhausted, dear. Why don't you have some tea? Sarah suggested gently, while Amara looked at the cup, hesitant but eventually accepted. She brought the cup to her trembling hands, feeling the warmth of the tea ease some of the tension. Dr. Matteo approached again, keeping his tone soft but firm. Amara, I know all of this must be scary, and we're trying to help in the best way possible. If you can tell us a little more, we can take care of you and Noah. Perhaps even find someone from your family who might be worried about you. The girl flinched a little at the words family and worried. She glanced briefly at Dr. Matteo, her eyes filled with a mix of pain and something almost like disbelief. My mom, she's not like you. She's always been closer to him. My stepdad. I I just don't want to go back, Amara replied, her voice choked. Isabella felt a tightness in her chest upon realizing the depth of the pain in those words. She sat beside Amara and, in a soothing tone, said, Amara, you are very brave for being here. I know this must not have been easy, but we want you to know that we will take care of you and Noah, regardless of what happened before. Amara held Isabella's gaze for a moment, as if seeking a final confirmation that she was indeed safe. She took a deep breath and finally whispered, He always said it was a secret, that no one would believe me. I never thought I would have anywhere to go. Dr. Matteo exchanged a firm look with Isabella, making it clear that they needed to act cautiously and ensure the psychological and emotional support that Amara needed. He gently touched her hand, assuring her, Amara, you are not alone anymore, and here we all believe you. We will make sure that you both are okay. Finally, she took a deep breath and looked at Isabella, still reluctant but with a bit more courage. Are you going to tell someone about us? Amara asked hesitantly, as if afraid of the answer. Isabella leaned in and gently held her hand in a supportive gesture. Dear, our priority is to take care of you and Noah. We need to ensure that both of you are okay and protected. This means some professionals will help, but everyone will be here for you. Do you understand? Amara swallowed hard and nodded slowly, processing the answer. Dr. Matteo leaned in, maintaining a comforting tone. Amara, we have a very kind social worker named Aileen who will talk to you. She is great with kids and is here to listen to everything you want to share without any rush. If you feel you need some time, just say so. Okay. Amara looked at both of them, as if deciding to trust a little more. In a whisper, she confessed, I just wanted him to be okay. Noah. He's so small and I promised I would take care of him. The sincerity in her voice moved Isabella, who held Amara's hand more firmly. And you are keeping that promise with so much courage, Amara. But now, it's our turn to help you. A few minutes later, social worker Aileen entered the room with a warm smile and gentle gestures. She approached slowly, sitting beside Amara without rushing her. Hi, Amara. My name is Aileen. I'm here to make sure you and Noah get all the help you need. Okay. Amara watched her closely, still wary but visibly touched by Aileen's kindness. The social worker continued, keeping her tone light. You've been very strong coming here. I know this must not have been easy. I'm here to listen to everything you want to share and to ensure that no one can hurt you and Noah again. Aileen observed Amara's expression, respecting the time the girl needed to process each word. Slowly, she began to ask gentle questions in a soft voice, creating a safe and welcoming atmosphere. Amara, can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to take care of Noah by yourself? Aileen asked, keeping a warm smile on her face. Amara hesitated, but her eyes shone with a mix of pride and sadness. I did everything to make sure he was okay. I gave him my blanket so he wouldn't be cold and stayed awake to make sure he was safe, she replied, her voice wavering. He needed me, and I didn't want to let him down. Aileen and Isabella exchanged glances, moved by the strength of such a young girl. The pain and responsibility that Amara carried revealed a precocious maturity forged by difficult circumstances. Aileen continued gently, Amara, you did a wonderful job taking care of Noah. You were very brave and dedicated to him in such a beautiful way. Now we want you to receive that same care. Okay? Isabella and I will be here whenever you need. Amara sighed, as if the weight of the world was lifting at least a little, but she still seemed hesitant. But what if he doesn't stay with me? Are you going to separate me from him? Amara's voice sounded fragile, revealing her greatest fear. Aileen moved closer, trying to comfort her. Amara, Our goal is to keep you and Noah together and safe. We need to take some steps to ensure your safety, but we will do our best to respect the special bond you have. No one is going to take him away from you without a good reason. I promise." Amara nodded, still unsure, but, for the first time, feeling that there was a chance for true protection. She clasped her hands in her lap, breathing more easily. At that moment, Noah began to stir in his crib, making small sounds that caught everyone's attention. Amara quickly leaned over him, gently stroking his head with evident tenderness. Isabella smiled, seeing Amara's maternal instinct in action. "It looks like he's hungry, Amara," Isabella said, grabbing a bottle. "Would you like to help feed him?" Amara's eyes lit up at the sight of the bottle, and she eagerly nodded. It was as if, for a moment, the fear and sadness were replaced by simple happiness. "Yes, please. I want to help." Isabella placed the bottle in Amara's hands, guiding her carefully as she began to feed Noah. As Amara fed Noah with care, Eileen stayed by her side, watching the deep bond between the two. It was clear that Noah was not just a baby to Amara. He was her reason to keep fighting. After a few minutes of silence, Eileen spoke to the girl again, maintaining a comforting tone. "Amara, I know you're doing everything for him, and that's something very beautiful. But tell me, did anyone know you were taking care of Noah? Did you have help at any point?" Amara was silent for a moment, looking at Noah before answering in a low voice. "No," he said. "No one could know. That it was a secret." She paused, biting her lip in distress. "But I knew he needed me, so I did what I could by myself." Eileen and Isabella exchanged worried looks. It was clear that Amara had lived in emotional and physical isolation, carrying a responsibility that no one her age should have. Still, Amara showed an uncommon strength. "And you did an amazing job, Amara. Now, we want to make sure you and Noah never have to face this alone again," Eileen said tenderly. "I will arrange for you to have all the support you need." Amara blinked, processing the idea that, for the first time, she wouldn't have to fight alone. There was a fragility in her gaze, but also a glimmer of hope that had seemed non-existent before. "You're really going to help us?" Amara asked with a sparkle of uncertainty. "Yes, dear. We will take care of both of you," Isabella replied, placing a hand on Amara's shoulder. "We are here to protect you, and it won't be a secret anymore. You deserve a life full of love and safety." At that moment, Nurse Sarah returned to the room with some clean clothes for Amara and Noah, along with a soft, colorful blanket. She smiled, placing them beside the bed. "I brought something to make you more comfortable. What do you think, Amara?" Amara smiled shyly, looking at the new clothes and blanket. She stroked the colorful fabric, realizing that perhaps this new life everyone promised could really be different. Eileen noticed this small sign of comfort and decided to proceed cautiously, keeping the welcoming tone. "Amara, I know it has been very difficult for you to get here," Eileen said, "but we are so happy that you reached out to us. Now, we want to ensure that both you and Noah are okay." Amara nodded, taking a deep breath, and turned her attention to Noah, who was peacefully sleeping in her lap. She felt a mix of relief and fear, a sense that danger was still present somewhere distant, but that, somehow, she had found shelter. "I just want him to be safe," Amara whispered, her voice barely audible, as if she was speaking to herself. Eileen leaned in slightly, encouraging her with a reassuring smile. "And he is, Amara, and you are too. But for us to help you even more, we need to know a little more about what happened before you came here. Do you think you can tell us?" Amara hesitated, holding Noah close to her chest. But the calmness in Eileen's gaze seemed to finally dissolve her last barriers. After a long silence, she began to speak, her voice low and trembling. "I was alone with him, Whenever my stepfather got angry, he would say I was a problem. I never wanted Noah to go through that, so when he was born, I knew I had to protect him. But I didn't know what to do. I just wanted him not to suffer." Isabella and Aileen exchanged a compassionate glance, and Aileen, in a gentle tone, reaffirmed, "You were very brave, Amara, and you did the best you could. No one should carry this weight alone, especially a girl like you. Now, we want to give you the care and protection you've always deserved." At that moment, Dr. Mateo entered the room, bringing an expression of serenity and determination. "Amara, I brought something special for Noah," he said, showing a small stuffed toy, a brown teddy bear with a red bow, which he handed to Amara. "I think he would like to have something to keep him company." Amara's eyes lit up at the sight of the teddy bear, and a small smile formed on her face. She placed the teddy bear next to Noah, gently stroking the plush toy. Thank you so much," Amara murmured, letting out a sigh of relief. Aileen, sitting next to Amara, noticed the calm that was taking over the girl and, taking advantage of that moment of serenity, asked gently, "Amara, I would like to know if there is someone we can call for you. Someone who cares about you and Noah. Maybe a family member or a friend." Amara hesitated, her expression hardening slightly at the thought of the possibility. She shook her head slowly and replied in an almost resigned tone, "No one who really cares. I've always had to take care of myself." Aileen nodded, respecting the response and understanding that this was a painful reality for Amara. Trying to offer some comfort, she said, "So you and Noah now have us. While you are here, you won't be alone anymore." Amara looked at Aileen with eyes full of surprise and gratitude. It was a kind of support she had never experienced before, and although she was skeptical, it seemed she was starting to believe. "Thank you," Amara whispered, almost as if the words were difficult to say, as if the idea of thanking for care was still something new. At that moment, Isabella returned to the room with a tray of hot soup and a glass of juice. "I brought something for you to eat, Amara. You must be starving after everything you've been through. How about having a little?" Amara smiled shyly, accepting the soup and holding the spoon carefully while Noah still slept peacefully beside her. With the first bite, her face showed a mix of relief and satisfaction. That soup was more than just a meal. It was a gesture of care that she hadn't received in a long time. As Amara ate, Aileen and Isabella watched in silence, offering the necessary support without haste. After a few minutes, Amara, still holding the spoon, finally asked, Do you think that one day Noah and I will have a real home? A place where no one can hurt us?" Aileen exchanged a glance with Isabella, and both knew that the promise they would make at that moment would need to be fulfilled with dedication. "Yes, Amara, that is our goal," Aileen replied, holding the girl's hand firmly. "And we will work to ensure that you and Noah can have the home and safety you deserve." Amara finished the soup, feeling a comforting warmth that seemed to warm not only her body but also her heart. She was still holding Aileen's hand when Noah stirred, slowly opening his eyes. Noticing that the baby had woken up, Amara quickly leaned over him, gently stroking his cheek. "Good morning, little one," Amara whispered with a soft smile. Aileen and Isabella watched the scene tenderly. It was evident that, despite everything she had been through, Amara had a very strong protective and maternal instinct towards Noah. Dr. Mateo entered the room again with a gentle smile and a clipboard in hand. "Amara, now that you are both more at ease, I would like to do a quick checkup on you and Noah, just to ensure you are healthy. Is that okay with you?" Amara hesitated, casting a worried glance at Noah, but Aileen reassured her with a gentle gesture. "Don't worry, dear. Dr. Mateo just wants to make sure you are both fine and not in pain. You can stay with Noah the whole time." Amara took a deep breath and nodded, allowing Dr. Mateo to begin the examinations. He was careful, explaining each step so she would feel secure. First, he examined Noah, checking his weight and verifying that he was hydrated and well-fed. The baby seemed healthy, to Amara's relief, as she watched closely. Then, Dr. Mateo turned to Amara, still using a calm and reassuring tone. "Let's just take a look at you now, okay? It won't take long, I promise." Amara, still a bit nervous, tried to relax as Dr. Mateo examined her gently. After a few minutes, he exchanged a meaningful glance with Aileen and Isabella, indicating that something in her health status required more attention. Dr. Mateo finished the examination and, putting the clipboard aside, said firmly, "Amara, it seems that you are a bit dehydrated and tired, but nothing that a good rest and proper nutrition can't fix. We will make sure you recover quickly." Amara let out a sigh of relief, but Dr. Mateo's expression showed that he was still concerned about something beyond what he had said. He leaned in and, in the gentlest tone possible, asked a delicate question. "Amara, do you feel any pain that you may not have mentioned? You can tell us everything you're feeling. We are here to help." Amara lowered her eyes, clearly embarrassed, and then replied with a trembling voice, I feel a pain in my stomach, but it's not that bad. I'm used to it." Everyone's heart in the room tightened upon hearing that. Aileen held her hand, conveying support and understanding. "You don't have to bear that pain alone, Amara. Here, we will ensure that you and Noah receive everything you need." "Okay." Amara quickly wiped a tear away, trying to maintain her composure, but the emotional and physical exhaustion was finally becoming evident. Dr. Mateo and Aileen understood that, after so long facing everything alone, opening up to receive help was not easy. They exchanged understanding glances, thinking of the best way to offer Amara and Noah the support they needed. Dr. Mateo approached again and, in a firm but gentle tone, said, "Amara, we will arrange for you to have some more detailed tests. We just want to ensure that you are completely healthy. Okay? I promise. I will be by your side the whole time." Amara took a deep breath, seeming to gather the courage the situation required, and nodded. "That's fine. I just don't want to be away from Noah," she replied, looking at the baby with a glimmer of concern in her eyes. Aileen smiled and placed her hand on Amara's shoulder. "Noah will be with you, dear. We'll arrange everything so you don't have to be separated." Carefully, Dr. Mateo helped Amara to stand up. The girl held the baby in her arms while Isabella arranged for a wheelchair so she could move to the examination area without effort. The medical team did everything to ensure that Amara and Noah felt supported and comfortable as they headed to the examination room. Amara observed the hospital corridors with curious and slightly scared eyes. They passed by other patients and staff members, some of whom cast looks of compassion and surprise at seeing the young mother with her baby. Finally, upon arriving at the examination room, Dr. Mateo made sure Amara was comfortable with Noah in her arms. Her nurse, named Nina, with a kind demeanor, approached, explaining the process in a soothing voice. "I'm going to do some tests on you, dear. This won't take long, and I will be here the entire time. If you need anything, just call me." Amara nodded, trying to stay calm as Nina carried out the initial tests. Throughout the process, Amara kept her eyes on Noah, gently stroking his tiny hand as a way to find security. As the tests continued, Dr. Mateo and Aileen, waiting outside, discussed the next steps. They both knew that Amara and Noah would need a safe environment and special support to deal with the trauma. After the tests, Nina gave Amara a gentle smile and said, "All done. We finished now. You can rest a bit." Amara let out a sigh of relief, visibly exhausted but also more at ease. Dr. Mateo entered the room, accompanying the girl back to the ward where she could rest with Noah by her side. As she lay down on the bed, Amara looked at Aileen and Dr. Mateo with genuine gratitude. "Thank you," she murmured, holding Noah as she slowly closed her eyes, allowing herself to be enveloped by a sense of security she had never experienced before. When she woke up a few hours later, Aileen and Isabella were in the room, talking quietly. Upon noticing that Amara was awake, Alan approached with a gentle smile. "Good morning, dear. Were you able to rest well?" she asked in a warm tone. Amara nodded, still a bit sleepy. She looked at Noah, who was sleeping peacefully, and felt a wave of relief seeing him right next to her. She was still getting used to the idea that she could trust these people. Isabella brought a tray with a simple and nutritious breakfast. "I brought you something to eat. I know you must be starving," she said, placing the tray within Amara's reach. While Amara ate, Dr. Mateo entered the room, carrying a folder with the test results. He sat down beside the girl and started the conversation carefully. "Amara, we reviewed the tests and want to ensure that you are well in every way. Resting, eating well, and feeling safe are very important parts of your recovery." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "And that's why we would like to talk to you about what comes next for you and Noah." Amara stopped eating and looked at Dr. Mateo, her expression showing a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "What's going to happen now?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Aileen moved closer, taking Amara's hand to provide reassurance. "We will talk to some people who can help find a safe home for you and Noah, a place where you can stay together and receive the necessary support. This may take some time, but I promise we will be with you every step of the way." Amara furrowed her brow, visibly worried. "And what if nobody wants us?" she whispered, revealing a deep fear. Isabella responded firmly and kindly. "You and Noah are precious, Amara. There are many good people who would love to have you in their lives, people who would do anything to take care of you. We will find one of those people, I promise." Those words seemed to ease Amara's heart a little. She let out a slight sigh, and her shoulders relaxed, though she was still visibly emotional. Dr. Mateo continued in the same gentle tone. "Aileen will help coordinate everything, and until we find that special place for you, you can count on all of us here at the hospital. You won't be alone." Amara nodded slowly, processing each word. For the first time, she felt that perhaps there was a possibility of a safe future for her and Noah. She held Aileen's hand more tightly, letting out a small smile of hope. I want him to have a better life," Amara murmured, looking at Noah. "A life where he never has to be afraid." Aileen squeezed her hand, offering the comfort the girl so desperately needed. "And we will do everything to ensure that, Amara." That afternoon, a new visitor arrived in the room. Aileen had mentioned before that a special person would come to talk to Amara, someone who worked with children and knew how to help in delicate situations. When the door opened, a woman with a kind and calm expression entered. "Hello, Amara," she said with a warm smile. "My name is Sophia, and I am a child psychologist. I'm here to listen to you and help in any way I can. Is that okay?" Amara looked at Sophia with a mix of curiosity and nervousness, but the comforting presence of the psychologist made her relax a little. Sophia sat down next to the bed, not too close so as not to intimidate her, but with a welcoming gaze that invited conversation. "I know you have been very brave and strong, taking care of Noah," Sophia began, keeping her tone gentle. "And I know that this hasn't always been easy. I want you to know that I'm here to listen to you and understand what you've been through, but you only need to share what you feel comfortable sharing." Amara took a deep breath, looking at Noah before responding. She hesitated to trust strangers, but until that moment, everyone there had shown her a kindness she did not know. Finally, she found the courage to answer. I just want him to be safe." He is all I have, Amara whispered, feeling vulnerable. Sophia nodded, showing understanding. And we want the same for you both, Amara. We want to make sure you never have to face this alone again. After a brief silence, Sophia continued, now shifting to a light question so that Amara would feel at ease. Do you remember the moment you decided you needed to bring Noah to the hospital? Amara frowned, recalling the night everything changed. Her voice was low and hesitant, but she answered, I knew I couldn't take care of him alone. Not anymore. I was scared, but I had to try. He couldn't stay in that place. Sophia looked at Amara with admiration, seeing the bravery that such a young girl was demonstrating. She was not only a protector for Noah, but a child who had faced unimaginable situations. Amara, you have been very brave, and now that you are here, we want you to know that you are safe. This hospital is a safe place, and we will help find a home where you can grow in peace. After a while, as Sophia was saying goodbye with a reassuring smile, Aileen stayed by Amara's side, keeping the environment welcoming. Amara, I wanted you to know that we now have a plan for what comes next, Aileen said, taking a small clipboard. We found a foster family, people who are willing to take care of you and Noah together, offering the home you both deserve. Amara's eyes widened in surprise. The idea of a foster family seemed distant and surreal, but at the same time, it awakened something in her heart that she had never dared to admit. The desire to belong to a real home, a family. They really want us? Aileen nodded, smiling. Yes, they do. It's a family with a lot of experience in caring for children, and they are eager to meet you and Noah. In fact, they suggested a visit here at the hospital so you can meet them before making any decisions. Amara seemed to absorb every word carefully, as if fearing it was all a dream. She looked at Noah, who was sleeping peacefully beside her, and then at Aileen with a mix of hope and fear. What if they change their minds? She asked in a whisper, almost inaudible. Aileen leaned in, touching Amara's shoulder in a gesture of reassurance. Amara, I know it's hard to trust after everything you've been through, but these people are committed to providing a safe home for you both. Besides, I will be by your side throughout the process. I won't let anyone disappoint you again. Amara let out a sigh, as if releasing some of her fear. The idea of a home, of a family that would care for her and Noah, was beginning to take root, even if timidly. And for the first time, she seemed open to the possibility of trusting. Okay, I would like to meet them, Amara said, her voice laden with contained hope. Aileen smiled, pleased, and gently held Amara's hand. Then I will arrange everything for them to come tomorrow. You don't need to worry about anything. Just rest and keep being the amazing person you are. The next morning, Amara woke up with a feeling of anxiety and anticipation. The idea of meeting a family that could welcome her and Noah was both exciting and frightening. Aileen was by her side, helping her prepare for the meeting, while Nurse Isabella changed Noah's clothes and made him comfortable in his little crib. Today is an important day, Amara, Aileen said with a reassuring smile. Remember that you don't have to make any decisions right now. This is just the first meeting, and we want you to feel comfortable. Amara nodded, trying to calm her own breathing. She looked at Noah, who seemed oblivious to everything, stretching his little hands as Isabella played with him. A few minutes later, there was a gentle knock on the door, and a warm-looking woman, accompanied by a kind-faced man, entered the room. Aileen introduced them as Clara and Daniel, the couple who were willing to welcome Amara and Noah. Clara was carrying a bouquet of flowers and a small teddy bear for Noah, while Daniel waved with a welcoming smile. Hello, Amara, Clara greeted, approaching slowly so as not to startle her. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We've heard so much about your courage. Amara watched the two with a look of distrust mixed with curiosity. She noticed the way Clara and Daniel looked at each other with mutual understanding, and something in her began to relax, even if it was just a little. "This is for Noah," Clara said, handing the teddy bear to Amara. "We hope he likes it." Amara carefully took the teddy bear and looked at Noah, who smiled upon seeing the new toy. She shyly smiled at Clara and Daniel. "Thank you," she said softly, holding the teddy bear close to Noah. Daniel stepped forward, maintaining a calm and comforting tone. "Amara, we know you've been through a lot. We're not here to pressure you into anything. We want you and Noah to feel safe, and we'll do whatever it takes to ensure that." Aileen watched everything closely, ready to intervene if Amara needed help, but surprisingly, the girl began to relax, feeling less intimidated by the couple's welcoming presence. I just want him to have a good life," Amara confessed, looking at Noah and then at Clara and Daniel. "I would do anything for him." Clara knelt beside Amara, gently holding her hands. "We want that too, Amara, and if you allow us, we'll be here to support both of you on this journey. You don't have to face everything alone." Clara's words seemed to hit home for Amara, and she felt tears welling up in her eyes. For the first time, she felt she had found people who truly understood her desire to protect Noah. She looked at Aileen, who nodded, encouraging her to give this new beginning a chance. "I would like to try," Amara said, her voice choked but full of sincerity. "I want him to have a family, and maybe we both can have one." After the meeting with Clara and Daniel, Amara seemed different, as if a small weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She watched Noah, holding the teddy bear, smiling at the baby's simple joy with the new toy. Aileen remained by her side, noticing the subtle transformation that the first step had caused. "They are really kind," Amara murmured, still processing what she felt. "I never thought anyone would want us both." Aileen smiled, placing a gentle hand on Amara's shoulder. "You deserve it, Amara. Both you and Noah deserve a home filled with love and safety. Clara and Daniel are ready to offer that to you, but the final decision is yours." Amara nodded, absorbing the words. It seemed surreal to think that, after so many nights of fear and uncertainty, she could finally be close to having a life she had never dreamed of. She took a deep breath, as if trying to absorb all of that new reality. The next morning, Clara and Daniel returned for another visit. This time, Clara brought a small bag with new clothes for Noah and some basic items for Amara, like a storybook she had specially chosen. "I thought you might like to read a story to Noah if you want," Clara said, handing the book to Amara with a gentle smile. Amara held the book, turning it in her hands as if it were a precious treasure. The colorful cover and cheerful illustrations seemed inviting, like a promise of quiet moments she had never had. "Thank you," Amara replied, her voice almost a whisper. I think he will like it." Daniel stepped closer, positioning himself next to Clara, and smiled at Amara. "Amara, we want you to know that we are here for whatever you need. We know this change is big, and we are ready to go at your pace. We want you and Noah to feel safe and comfortable without any rush." Amara watched them cautiously, but a part of her was beginning to open up to the idea of accepting help. For the first time, she could imagine a future where Noah had a safe childhood, away from all the fear she had faced herself. Noah let out a giggle while playing with the teddy bear, and Amara, smiling, realized that this new reality was slowly becoming more tangible. She looked at Clara and Daniel, feeling a mix of gratitude and hope, and finally said, I want to try, but I just need some time. To trust, to believe this is real." Clara nodded, her eyes brimming with emotion. "And we will give you as much time as you need, Amara. You and Noah are a family, and our home will always be open to you." In the following days, Amara and Noah received regular visits from Clara and Daniel, each with small gestures that showed the couple's care and patience for them. With each meeting, Amara felt more at ease, as if an invisible barrier was slowly dissolving. She noticed the care with which Clara looked at Noah and how Daniel always tried to make her smile, telling little stories from his own childhood or showing fun games. During one of those visits, Clara brought a special surprise, a simple but charming photo album. She opened the album and, turning the pages, showed pictures of their home. There was a room with large windows and natural light, a garden with colorful flowers, and a small outdoor area with toys. "This is our home, Amara. If you and Noah come with us, this will be your space too," Clara said, gently running her finger over a photo of a swing in the yard. "I always loved that swing when I was little. I would spend hours there." Amara looked at each photo attentively, almost as if she were memorizing every detail. She wondered if she could really feel part of that place, if that scene of peace and safety would truly be for her and Noah. "It looks peaceful," Amara commented with a slight smile. "Noah would love to see the flowers. He loves colors." Daniel smiled, leaning in a little to speak directly to Amara. "And you? What would you like to do there? We have many books, games, and we can plant new flowers in the garden together if you want." The proposal seemed so distant from Amara's reality that she was taken aback, unsure of how to respond. She had never imagined she could have time to simply be a child. She looked at Aileen, who nodded, encouraging her to allow herself to imagine that new life. I think I would like to learn how to take care of the plants," she said, a bit embarrassed. "And maybe read stories to Noah outside." Clara took Amara's hand with a look that conveyed deep understanding and affection. "Then let's do it together. We love gardening, and Noah will have a place of his own to play outdoors, always close to you." Amara's heart filled with a new warmth, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. She looked at Noah, who was playing with the teddy bear Clara had given him, and felt that maybe, finally, she could allow herself to dream of a life where she wouldn't have to fight every day. "I would like to try." The words came from her lips in a firm tone, revealing the decision she had kept in her heart. "I want Noah to have a life like that, and maybe I can too." Daniel smiled, visibly moved, while Clara wiped away a tear that escaped her eyes. "We will take care of you, Amara. You are now part of our family." With Amara's decision to join Clara and Daniel, the hospital team began preparing for the transition. Every detail was thought out so that both she and Noah would feel safe and supported. Aileen and Dr. Mateo organized a meeting with Clara, Daniel, and a social worker to discuss the next steps and ensure that the process would be as comfortable as possible for Amara. On the day of departure, the hospital was filled with emotions. Nurses and doctors who had known Amara and Noah's story passed by the room to say goodbye, leaving small tokens and words of encouragement. Nurse Isabella gave Noah a soft blanket with colorful embroidery, and Amara held it tenderly, knowing it would be a piece of everyone who had cared for her. Clara and Daniel arrived with a spacious and comfortable car, where they prepared a seat for Noah and a cozy blanket for Amara. As they approached the hospital exit, Amara began to feel a mix of anxiety and anticipation. It was hard to believe that she and Noah were leaving for a new life, a life she had never dared to dream of before. Aileen, always by her side, held her hand one last time before the goodbye. "Amara, this is your new journey, and you have every right to be happy. Know that everyone here is rooting for you and Noah, and we will always be nearby if you need us." Amara hugged her, feeling the security and affection Aileen had always offered from the beginning. Although anxious, she also felt a renewed strength, a sense that, with the right support, she could face whatever lay ahead. Finally, Clara approached and smiled. "Shall we go home, Amara?" Amara looked at Noah, who was peacefully sleeping in Daniel's lap, and nodded with a shy and sincere smile. "Yes, I think we are ready." On the way, Clara and Daniel made sure the trip was smooth. They talked softly, sharing little stories and asking Amara what she liked to do most. Amara responded with few words, still absorbing the reality around her. But gradually, she relaxed, enjoying the simplicity of the conversation. When they arrived at the house, Clara guided Amara and Noah through the place that would now be their new home. Amara admired the details, the colorful garden, the windows that let in light abundantly, and the swing Clara had mentioned. She looked at the space with curious eyes, and a spark of hope grew in her heart. Noah woke up, looking around with a baby's curiosity, and smiled when Clara placed the little teddy bear in his hands. Amara, touched by the care she felt around her, took a deep breath, letting the feeling of security seep into her soul. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that this could really be the home she had longed for both Noah and herself. Clara took Amara's hand gently. "This is our home, and now it is yours too. Let's build this new story together, one day at a time." Amara looked at Clara and Daniel, feeling a connection she had never experienced before, and with a slight smile, she whispered, "Thank you for everything." And with those words, Amara took the first step into her new life, a life where, finally, she could dream of peace and happiness. In the days that followed Amara and Noah's arrival at their new home, a simple and welcoming routine began to form. Clara and Daniel were patient and attentive, allowing Amara to adapt at her own pace. Every morning, Clara invited her to help in the garden, where they took care of the flowers and plants that Amara was beginning to learn to cultivate. Daniel, on the other hand, liked to include Noah in small activities, carrying him around while he did tasks around the house and allowing Amara to watch, feeling more and more secure and at ease. On a sunny morning, while Clara and Amara were planting some sunflower seeds, Clara took the opportunity to talk about the future. "Amara, I thought of something you might like," Clara said, wiping her hands on the dirt. "If you want, we can set up a little corner in the garden just for you. You can plant whatever you want, and it will be your special space." Amara lifted her face, surprised, and smiled shyly. "I've never had anything just for me before," she murmured, looking at the spot Clara was pointing to in the garden. "It would be beautiful." Clara nodded, happy to see the sparkle in Amara's eyes. That small gesture was more than just a space in the garden. It was a way to give the girl the assurance that she was in a place where she could grow and flourish, just like those plants. That night, after Noah fell asleep, Amara found Daniel in the living room, flipping through an old photo album. He looked up and smiled upon seeing her. "Amara, I thought you might like to see some pictures from when I was a child," he said, pushing the album closer to her. "It may seem silly, but for me, photos are memories that help keep alive the memory of the people I love." Amara carefully flipped through the album, absorbing each image of Daniel with his family during happy, carefree moments. Those images seemed almost magical to her, as if they belonged to a distant, ideal world. After a while, she looked at Daniel, hesitating before speaking. "I wish I had photos like this with Noah." Daniel nodded, understanding the weight of that desire. "We can start creating those memories now, Amara. This is the beginning of a new story for you and Noah, and it will be filled with moments like these. How about we start tomorrow with a picture of the two of you in the garden?" Amara smiled, touched by the simplicity and meaning of that idea. For the first time, she felt she had the freedom to imagine a future with happy and visible memories, like Daniel's photos. The next morning, while Noah played with the teddy bear he had received from Clara, Amara held him in her arms in the garden, and Daniel took their first picture together. Amara's smile, natural and sincere, showed that she was starting to allow herself to feel the peace and happiness that had previously seemed distant. The photo would be just the beginning of a special album, an album that would mark the rebirth of Amara and Noah's lives, now in a home where love and security surrounded them. On a Saturday afternoon, while Noah took a nap, Clara suggested something special. "Amara, how about we go for a walk? There's a park nearby that I think you both would love. We can take Noah to see the ducks at the pond. He will adore it." Amara looked at Clara with a mix of surprise and excitement. The invitation sounded simple, but for her, it was a sign that she was finally getting the chance to experience a childhood she had never known. She nodded, and together, they prepared for the outing. Upon arriving at the park, Clara picked up Noah while Daniel walked with Amara to the pond, where the ducks swam peacefully. Amara observed everything around her with fascination. The laughter of children, the sunlight reflecting on the water, the smell of the trees. It was as if she was seeing the world in a new way, finally free from the weight of fear and insecurity. "Amara," Daniel began, noticing the shy smile on her face. "This kind of moment belongs to you and Noah now. You deserve these memories." Amara took a deep breath, absorbing every word. She looked at Noah, who was curiously observing everything around him, and felt a wave of genuine happiness. During the outing, Clara took some pictures of Amara and Noah, capturing their smiles and the sparkle of discovery in both of their eyes. As they returned home, Clara made a promise. "Let's start an album, Amara. Every new adventure will be recorded, and one day, when you look at it, you will have memories of this beginning that is just for you." Amara smiled and held Clara's hand, feeling a deep gratitude. Deep down, she knew that this album would be the testament to a new story, a story where she and Noah could finally be happy. When they got home, Amara put Noah to sleep and went to the bedroom window, looking out at the garden illuminated by the sunset. She felt a calm she had never felt before. She knew the road would still be long, but for the first time, she had hope for the future, trust in the people around her, and, above all, the certainty that, alongside Clara and Daniel, she had found the family she so desperately needed. The days passed peacefully, each bringing a new discovery for Amara and Noah. Gradually, Amara felt more secure, and even her posture and smile began to change. She was experiencing, for the first time, a feeling of lightness, as if the weight she had been carrying in her heart was slowly dissolving. One afternoon, while Clara and Amara were preparing dinner together in the kitchen, Clara decided to share something she had been observing with care. "Amara, I have seen how thoughtful and attentive you are with Noah. He is a lucky baby to have such a dedicated sister." Amara, surprised by the compliment, stopped what she was doing and looked at Clara, feeling a mix of shyness and pride. "I just want him to grow up without fear, to have everything I didn't have," she replied softly but with conviction. Clara smiled and placed her hand over Amara's, conveying security. "And you are succeeding, dear. But we also want you to have that," Clara said, looking at her tenderly. "You deserve to be a child, to play, to explore, to learn. You also deserve the chance to build your own dreams." Amara reflected on those words as they continued cooking. She had never imagined that someone would care so much about her dreams as she herself cared about Noah's future. For the first time, she allowed herself to think of a future where she could learn, grow, and build a life. Later, while Noah played with his toys, Daniel entered the room with a box of games. "Amara, I thought you might like these games. I used to play with them when I was a child, and I thought we could play together if you want." Amara's eyes lit up. It was rare for her to have the chance to simply have fun without responsibilities or fears. She looked at Noah, who was observing everything with curiosity, and then at Daniel, feeling enveloped by that sense of normalcy that she had never experienced before. "I would love to," she replied, smiling. That night, the house echoed with laughter and casual conversations. Amara, Noah, Clara, and Daniel were all gathered around the games, and the joy they shared seemed to light up every corner of the home. Amid laughter and small victories in the games, Amara finally felt that she belonged somewhere. Later, when she lay down in bed, she thought about everything she had experienced since arriving there. That house was now more than just a place to live. It was a home where she could dream, be a child, and, at the same time, protect Noah in the way she had always wanted. And with that thought, she fell asleep, knowing that tomorrow would bring more adventures and, above all, more moments of happiness and love.